Even though I'm in Canada for the start of Season 2 for the FIFA 17 Ultimate Team Regionals, I had to take a break in the action to talk about the best weekend of games ever! And yes, I know that I've already said that, but I really mean it this time. And we're gonna start with Real Madrid versus Barcelona. El Clasico is finally upon us! And even though there are 7 games left in the season, I really feel like whoever wins this one is gonna go on to win the league. But I'm torn as to who is gonna do it, because even though Real Madrid have a ton of momentum after beating Bayern Munich in the Champions League, while Barcelona does not after losing to Juventus, and they're not gonna have Neymar in this game, there is a famous quote by Arthur Golden, and it is this: "A wounded tiger is a dangerous beast." And for me, Barcelona is wounded right now, but you can't discount the sense of purpose that Real Madrid right now and the confidence that they have. So I think this one's gonna end 2-2. And up next, it's the FA Cup semifinals with Chelsea versus Tottenham and Arsenal versus Manchester City. First and foremost, I'm kinda sad that there are no smaller clubs of the final 4 participants that are remaining, because that's what makes the FA Cup so special, that the little guy can beat the bigger guy. But since there are 4 bigger guys left, what tasty matches these are gonna be. First and second in the league, Chelsea and Tottenham facing off against each other in Wembley Stadium, which if Spurs win, it'll be their first FA Cup final appearance since 1991. But in their last 8 games at Wembley Stadium, they've won only once. While Chelsea last won this competition in 2012, and they beat Spurs along the way in the semifinals, but I don't think history's gonna repeat itself. Spurs have been playing really, really well, and Chelsea feels a little uneven, which is what happens when you have a 13-point lead cut down to 4. So I think Spurs wins this 3-2. And in the other game, it's 2 clubs that I think we can all agree are underachieving this season. And the first one is Arsenal, because they're Arsenal, and that's what they do, specifically around this time of the season. And the second one is Manchester City, because Pep Guardiola got brought in to win everything, and he hasn't. So winning this competition and getting at least 1 trophy this season could quiet some haters. Now, Arsenal have lost only once in their last 6 games against City, and they're considering again going with a back 3, which was used for the first time in Arsene Wenger's 20 years in charge, and it was used to great effect to get a road win, which they hadn't had in a while. But Middlesbrough is not Manchester City, and with Vincent Kompany being healthy and his leadership and experience making such a big difference with that club, I think that's going to be enough to be the difference, and City's going to win this 2-1. And now we head to Portugal for Sporting Clube de Portugal versus Benfica, which means it's time to throw it to my Portuguese league expert Adrian from Rabona TV, who has the breakdown of the big Lisboa derby. Adrian?
Benfica have won 31 of their last 38 matches and have kept a clean sheet in 6 of their last 7 away matches, but haven't scored more than 1 goal on the road in their last 5. Whereas Sporting, on the other hand, have scored 12 and conceded 3 in their last 5 home matches. Some of those thanks to Bas Dost. He's second behind Messi for the European Golden Shoe. And with emerging first-choice left-back Marvin Ziegelaar suspended, Benfica may focus their passing down the right so Salvio and Semedo can exploit Jefferson. Now, I'm fairly certain this is going to be a feisty one, and there's going to be 1 red card in this match, as Jorge Jesus is looking to hurt his former team both on the pitch and in the standings. But he'll only manage to do it just a little bit, as Shera Bem, Shera 1-1.
And now here's some other games that I'll be keeping my eyes on, like Celtic versus Rangers in the Scottish FA Cup, because the Latin version of me, Pedro Caixinha, who is one handsome son of a bitch, is making his full managerial debut in the Old Firm derby. And good news for Rangers fans, they are undefeated since he took over, but they're gonna be facing off against the one and only mighty Celtic twice in 6 days, this game and then in the league. And even though Celtic have already won the league in record fashion, this is still the Old Firm, so we'll see how Caixinha does. And Lyon versus Monaco, and sure, Lyon has somehow fumbled their way into potentially losing their grip on the last Europa League spot in Ligue 1 as Bordeaux closes in. And yes, Monaco needs to win this game to stay on top of the table, but I'm only watching this for one person, Kylian Mbappe. That kid is a star. And what about PSV versus Ajax? PSV are in 3rd place, 6 points behind 2nd place Ajax, so they need to win this game to close that gap, though it's unlikely because there's only 3 games left in the season. And Ajax need to win this game, because if they do, they could potentially overtake Feyenoord at the top of the table. In 1st place, Feyenoord hit the road to take on 5th place Vitesse, who Feyenoord lost to in the cup back in January, so it could happen again. Vitesse knows that they can do it. So there's so much action happening this weekend in Holland. It could be my favorite weekend of the season for the Eredivisie, and I'm really just curious to see if Feyenoord's going to capitulate and hand the title over to Ajax like Ajax handed the title to PSV last season. And now let's talk FC Dallas versus Sporting Kansas Conradinho. My former club SKC, who happen to be one of the 2 undefeated teams left in MLS, because that's how we roll, head down to Dallas to take on the other undefeated team in the league, so this should be a great game. Which leads me to another big match in North America, Tijuana versus Toluca. Now my Tijuana Zolos, who are currently in second, and Liga MX, take on Toluca, who remained in first after surviving a tough week where they had 2 games in 3 days. With only 3 games left in the season, this game is going to have huge implications as to who is going to get the top seed and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Also, make some time for the eternal derby between Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. Because even though the 2 most successful clubs in Turkish history are struggling a bit this season, they're in 4th and 3rd respectively, which means they're most likely going to watch Besiktas or Istanbul Başakşehir win the league. This game never disappoints. And crap, we can't forget about the second city derby between Aston Villa and Birmingham, and it's called this because apparently Birmingham is considered the second city of the UK. Is that true? I mean, I don't think you can always believe everything you read on the internet. Anyway, Villa have faltered these last few weeks to drop into mid-table purgatory in the championship, while Birmingham haven't won a game in their last 2 months and are now 2 points away from the drop zone, so they need to win this, otherwise there might not be a second city derby for a while. And finally, it's Anderlecht versus Club Brugge. Club Brugge. Club Brugge. 2 of the biggest clubs in Belgium, Standard Liège being the 3rd, face off this weekend in the league playoff championship after they finished the league 1st and 2nd respectively. Anderlecht was 1st and Bruges was 2nd, and now there's a separate tournament where the top 6 teams in the league play each other home and away for a total of 10 games. Now Anderlecht has 7 points after 3 games and Bruges only has 2 after 3 games, so I think it's pretty clear who needs all 3 points in this one. Alright, I think I covered everything, even though I'm sure one of you guys will be like, no, you forgot about that. Yeah, alright, fine. I didn't cover everything. I think I tried. I tried my best. Isn't that what matters? Anyway, have a great weekend, and if you have a chance between all these other games and all your real life activities, watch me on Twitch or ESPN as I am the Ryan Seacrest of this FIFA 17 Ultimate Team Championship Series. Alright, yeah, okay, later.